We are.
In a better chair, I must say.
A chair to begin with.
I feel better. I feel better in this
couch.
chair. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Chair. What's up, dude?
What's up, man?
I'm not a lot. We're live. We're here with you guys. Live. It's going to be so much fun today. We're continuing our Back to the Future series today. If you didn't catch last week's live stream, that's cool. It's on our YouTube. Obviously, that's the benefit. It just saves right away. So you can go back and catch what you missed there. This week, we're going to have a ton of fun. We're going to continue to learn. I really like the topic this week, man.
I do.
I think it's really good.
I do too.
We got anybody in the chat right now? Anybody here? If you're in the chat, say what's up. Oh, would you?
George Q. He said, I'm
George
here for
Q.
the Deloreans.
Okay, nice. George Q. Okay.
And
the title got him.
Yep.
I put Delorean in the title.
Great advertising.
Yeah, what's up?
Aiden, what's up? Hello.
Aiden, always. Aiden, my guy.
Always.
Hey, we have Emma in the room who's a student right here, and Abby who's a student leader here. So woo, yeah. So we actually have a couple people live, a little live studio audience. Three people. Count them. 1, 2, 3. But we're really excited that you're here to. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're still talking time travel today. Back to the future. And with that, I have a question. I have a question for the chat. I have a question for you, Ellis. I have a question for you all in the seats. You can yell it out to me if you know the answer. I'm going to start, though, with you because I prepped you.
Yeah.
So are you ready?
I appreciate that.
All right.
Yeah.
But you be thinking about this too, okay? Because put your answers in the chat. The question is if you could go back in time, if you could time travel, go only backwards in time, where would you go? Like what time period would you go to?
All right, so it's a dead heat. I got 2.
Oh,
yeah,
2.
I got 2.
Okay, all right.
You prep me with a question. I came prepared, right?
Okay.
So
we'll see.
Both of them, I can swing a sword around. All right.
Okay.
Because one of them is like medieval times, like knights,
All right.
And then another one is time of the samurai. The obvious, common denominator there is I wouldn't quite fit in either time, but it's okay. It's okay. That's not part of the question. We're in an alternate universe. It's all good.
That's true.
So
you mean like medieval Europe?
Yeah.
And feudal Japan.
There you go.
Is that what you're going
got
for?
It.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if the chat has any responses. That's good though. I am a big fan of the feudal Japan samurai aesthetic.
Yeah.
I do really like that answer. And it would be my choice if I asked the question. I'm going to put a little caveat on it.
Ooh.
If I was going to have no health concerns. That's the only problem with traveling back in time. Is modern medicine is just that. It's modern. And if you go back any further than 80 years ago, if you get an infection on your hand, they just cut it off.
That's it.
You know what I mean? There's no healing it. They're just that you got a little scratch there, looks a little red, goodbye hand.
It doesn't really matter what you do or what happens. At 40, you're done, no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. Particularly in medieval Europe, dude. That had to be the worst time in health history. It had to be.
Well,
You thought the COVID pandemic was bad.
Nah.
Bubonic plague, all just sorts of other stuff. Anyway, we got any answers in the chat?
We do.
All right, who is it?
Said the time when my dad was alive. Bro, there
wow,
you go.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Yeah, I would do that too. My dad, we didn't get to spend so much time together. So that would be cool to know him from probably in his heyday would be cool for me, but that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any answers down here? 10 minutes ago.
All right.
Nice. What, the 70s? Why? Why the 70s? The music. Are you you mean rock, classic rock 70s, like Zeppelin, stuff like that? Okay. Fair enough. But that's it, just the music? Right. Cool. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think music I think music peaked in the 90s, to be honest. So. That was really early 90s, even late 80s. So, not really. I'm not a huge, so I was Teen Spirit fan, you know what I mean? Which I know Nirvana purists and be that's not their only song, but I don't care. I'm talking Third Eye Blind, Goo Goo Dolls in their heyday, Hootie and the Blowfish, you know what I mean? Bands like that, you know, Dave Matthews Band, that style, that is really good. All right, I got one more question for y'all. Then we're going to play a game together, which is going to be super fun.
Yes.
Okay, here's another question.
Okay.
So you went back in time, but I didn't ask you how you got there. What everyday object would you turn into a time machine?
What everyday object would I turn into a time machine? I feel like a watch. That's got to be a good answer, right?
A watch?
Yeah.
Oh, so you could just like Avengers
Endgame
Endgame
watch. There you go.
Yeah, this one's already a time
machine.
Just
type in the year. There you go. Type in the date.
Right, exactly. If I change the date on here, does it just change the date around me?
Yes.
Nice.
That's how it's going to work. Yes.
That'd be fire. Let's see. I think I would change something like really wacky from our day.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know, like something totally off the wall. I'm thinking like that would just freak people out, like when you got in their time. You know, maybe like a whole rocket ship or something.
Oh, gosh.
So like when I showed up in feudal Japan, there was just a massive rocket ship. And they were like, what is that? How about y'all? You got anything? Okay, those are practical. Earrings would be really practical because no one would even know. A door would be cool too. You just walk through the door and it's there.
Bruh.
That would look cool. Got any in the chat?
Aiden said a cat. Time cat.
Why not?
In all caps.
You just crank its tail. And you go back in time. Just turn the dial. Go back in time. It's got a little window on it where you can 1970, 60, 50, 40, 30. Just keep going back. That'd be legit. All right. Well, today we are talking about things not maybe being what they seem on the outside. So, we're going to play a game today. Volunteers, you can come up here now. And we're going to move over to that table over there. So, come with us. Now, this game is going to be fun. All right, y'all. So, just so you know, you're looking at camera 1 right there. So, say hello. Wait, you need your mic. Hold up. I got your mic. Is it, I think it's still on. Did you mute it?
It sounds like it's on.
I don't think so. All right, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Emma.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm Abby.
Cool. And we are.
I'm Ellis, and I have a mic. Thank you.
Thank you,
though.
And we already introduced Ellis. So we're playing a game. We don't really have a name for it, but it's basically not everything isn't as it seems. So what the premise of this game is each of our contestants is going to choose one of the items in front of them. We have all different sorts of items, which when they choose it, they'll show it to you. And essentially, once they choose their item, we're going to make them close their eyes, reach into whatever their item is, and just eat whatever's in there.
Oh, yes.
Okay?
Woo.
Now, if you can guess by the name, you might not get what's on the front of your box when you go in. That's all I'm going to say about it. So, there we go. All right, who wants to go first?
Wait, time out. I got to go get an important object. Stall for a second.
All right,
Stall for a second.
Ellis is going to go get, I think, is it the blindfolds?
Nope.
Okay, all right, never mind. Ellis has a surprise I don't even know about. But you can be deciding among you. Play rock, paper, scissors to see who will go first. Best of 2 out of 3. Oh. There you go. All right, wait, you beat her twice?
No.
Oh, well then you go again. It's best 2 out of 3. There you go. That was 2. All right. So do you want to go first? Or you want her to go first? All right, you'll go first. So pick one of the items, but don't open it. Just pick it and then show it to the camera over here what you got. Okay. What is that?
It says milk.
It's muscle milk. It's a bottle of muscle milk. You got that in the camera right there? All right. Okay. So now you have to close your eyes. Close your eyes. You cannot open them, okay? I can't. I'm not going to do that, but don't.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. All right. Now crank her open. Take a sip.
Take a sippy sip. Oh!
There's a trash can behind you.
Ew. It's syrup?
It's maple syrup. You want some more? Okay. All right, maple syrup.
Oh, man.
Was our first one.
Off to a good
Good
start.
job, though.
This is great.
I love that face.
You're doing great.
That's perfect.
You're doing great.
All right, Abby, you're up.
Choose wisely.
Okay. Okay.
All right, what are those?
What are those?
Those are
Cosmic
here.
brownie.
Cosmic brownie cereal. Did you even know this was a thing?
That sounds
I did
legit.
not.
It's new. It does say new. That looks so legit. Is that going to be what's actually in there, though? We'll find out.
I really hope so.
All right, close your eyes.
Okay, sorry.
Close your eyes. Reach in there. Make it happen. Surprise! That one's actually legit. We didn't say we were all gonna be jokes. Are they good?
They're pretty good. They're not.
Do you want one? You can have one.
Sure.
I want to try one.
It tastes like the Cocoa Puffs.
Oh, bruh. Do they now?
Do they taste like cosmic brownies?
I hope so.
No,
No, they definitely don't.
they don't taste like
No.
cosmic.
Kind of weird. Anyway, well, look, you lucked out. All right, choose one of those, Emma. See, so it's proven that it might not be bad. Might not be all bad. Okay. What is that? What do you got?
Cheetos.
Crunchy Cheetos.
All right.
Oh, you smell like syrup. Crunchy Cheetos. All right. All right, close your eyes. Oh, did you tape them? Are they taped?
I didn't do that.
Oh, yeah. All right, you're good. You're good. All right.
What the?
Just eat it. Eat it.
Oh. Is that a pork rind?
It is. It's a queso pork rind. Do you like those? Oh, wow.
Aw,
Okay. I tried to pick the nastiest flavor I could. Oh, they smell so bad. Smell that.
Oh.
You like that. That's the problem.
It doesn't smell as bad as I thought.
Here, smell that. No, I'm just kidding. Do that? You want one?
No.
All right, well, then these are yours. You can have them. I'll leave them right here. Oh, they smell so bad. Oh, dude, they smell so bad. All right, Abby, you're up.
All right.
Two more.
This one's for Tanner.
Okay, what are those?
Pick this.
Okay, these are circus animal cookies, frosted. These bad boys are delicious. All right,
I hope they're
close your
actually
eyes.
in there.
Close your eyes.
Oh, okay.
Don't feel for texture. Just grab a handful and go.
I'm
Go.
trying. It's hard. Is this a noodle?
Go.
Put that.
Put it back.
Put it back.
Yeah, like throw it back is what I mean. Put another one in there.
Put another one in there.
What is it?
It's noodles. Hard noodles.
Can you even?
Ow.
You chipping a tooth?
Uh-huh.
Oh, she spit it out.
Ooh, lame.
All right. Since we have an uneven number, you're both going to reach in that box.
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Look, you picked. So it's not like I could save one for last. I didn't change this in any way. All right. So that's for both of you.
All right. And we have
Bring
to
it over.
close our eyes
Of
now?
course.
Yep.
Okay.
Close your eyes, and I'll count to three. I'll count to three, and you just ready? You got it?
Oh.
1, 2, 3. Eat it.
Ew. What is that? Is it just? It's not potatoes.
It's not potatoes. No.
What is that?
Try some more.
It's like just oats. Like just straight up raw oats. I feel like a horse right now.
That is exactly what it is.
Perfect.
It is just steel cut oats, uncooked steel cut oats.
Honestly, a good party snack.
So it's not bad for you. It would actually be, kind of good. I'm gonna try one.
What you think?
I wouldn't eat it regularly,
Just like driving down
but
the
it's not
road.
terrible. It could have been worse. I think the syrup's probably the worst one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You went immediately for the liquid one. I can't believe you did
I
that.
would have not picked that.
I can't believe you did that. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for being here. You want any of these? You like the pork rinds? Take them.
Who wants the syrup?
Give
Yeah.
me a pork rind.
Syrup? You
Yeah.
picked this up. This weighs like 10 pounds. And you're like,
What? That's so heavy. I love how she just drank it. Like, didn't
Exactly.
even question it.
Exactly.
She was
Didn't
just
even
like,
question
"All right."
All right, well, hey, that is it for our game. We're going to play another game in a minute, but before that, we're going to check out the first part of the teaching for today. So check this out right now. In the now iconic movie Back to the Future, Marty McFly's mind is blown when Doc Brown, his scientist friend, turns something pretty unlikely into a time machine. You've probably seen this car before, but here it is. This is the Delorean. Now, this is like the tricked out Back to the Future version, but this is it. Underneath all the gadgets and wires is the real DeLorean. And back in 1985, when this movie was released, this car right here
was actually pretty terrible in real life. Despite its futuristic look, now it doesn't look very futuristic to us, but imagine this car came out in 81, so imagine like in 78 when you saw this. I can imagine it looked pretty futuristic. But it was only ended up being manufactured for 2 years. And there were years of anticipation before its release. Many people thought it was going to have tons of power and cool features. And when the car finally became available, people jumped at the chance to buy it. A lot of people even paid way more for it than it was worth. But it didn't take long for people to realize that the DeLorean was not what they expected it to be. Today, the DeLorean is considered to be one of the worst cars of all time, practically, although it is still kind of iconic. What ended up plaguing the DeLorean in the 80s was the fact that it had so much anticipation, but then was a complete letdown. Of course, the DeLorean isn't the only example of this. How about fast food commercials? They show a perfectly cooked burger with melted cheese everywhere and a golden toasted bun. They always look so great. But does your burger ever look like that when you get one? No way. It always looks a little something like this. Now let me make sure I'm focused here. I brought a little burger breakfast sandwich from Sheetz, okay? And before I even open this thing, you can tell that this is not going to be good. Right here, that's melted cheese on the outside of this. Now, this is sealed, so I haven't seen it, but I'm confident enough to know that this is going to be a disaster when I open it. So here we go. Oh, it's wet. Ugh, it's wet. That is disgusting. Okay, hold on. All right, so the whole inside is cheese. That's cheese. That's all melted cheese. This thing, I'm telling you, this top bun is a sponge. I'm not even kidding. Look at that. I'm sad holding it. Look, ew. That is look at this. Okay, this is a waterbed. This feels like if you were at like a coral reef and you grabbed an underwater sponge. That's what this top bun is. Look at it jiggle. Oh my gosh. Okay, I hope no one ever eats this. But you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. That is terrible. And now it's all over my hands. And I hope no one ever eats that. But from the DeLorean to fast food to everything else we can think of, some things aren't always as they appear. This can happen with people too. Sometimes we assume people are one thing only to be surprised when we find out they're actually not that thing at all. We've probably figured this out by now, but we all need a reminder that looks can be deceiving from time to time. The DeLorean may have looked cool, but it was one of the worst cars ever. The people we might consider to be the least impressive are sometimes the ones who surprise us with their talent. And sometimes the people who seem to be the most impressive aren't everything we think they are.
All right, well, we are back. Thank you for watching part one of that video. How was the game?
Honestly, it was not as bad as I thought that it was going to be. Like, I thought it was going to be like, do y'all remember the show Fear Factor?
Yeah, oh yeah, like spiders and stuff.
Yeah, I
well,
thought it was gonna be like that.
I considered doing like really, like just gross stuff. But I was like, I don't actually know who's going to be there. But if I knew it was going to be, all students, there would have been no holding back. So anyway, I'll remember that you said that though, that it was too easy.
No,
Yeah,
I
next
did
time.
not say it was
that.
too easy.
I'll remember that.
Did not say that.
I'll remember that as we go.
I smell a sequel.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, in part one of the video, at the end there, I talked a little bit about a story that I have from my life about being essentially lying to fit in. Like I tried to fit in with the crowds, like pretty much elementary school, almost all the way till high school. Like I would just say things just to say that I did them if I knew everyone else around had done them. I won't rehash it because you just heard it. But I want to ask the question of you guys in the chat and, you guys up here, you guys down there, anybody who wants to answer this question right here. And it relates, how do you react when you feel insecure, and why? Do you pretend to be something you're not? Do you show off? Do you put someone else down, etc.? There's a lot of answers to this question. As you heard, mine is I was kind of pretending to be somebody I wasn't, or at least have done things that I didn't do. So that's the question I'm posing to y'all right now. And either of you can answer, or in the chat you can answer. We got the chat over here, so we'll see your responses. But yeah, how do you react when you feel insecure, and why?
I think I just kind of shut down, to be honest. I don't participate in the conversation, or just kind of stand there quietly. And I don't know. If I don't, like, I'm not the kind of guy to stand there and like make up stuff to fit in, or and I'm not just gonna, I'm like too nice to just walk away. So I'm just kind of in this in between where I'm just kind of standing there, just shutting down. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you know?
Yeah, I feel like I turn inward when I feel insecure, like sort of how you were saying, but like I don't shut out from the conversation, but I do play like the comparison game the whole time, and I like turn inward, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I was like that. I wish I wasn't like this. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Sure. You just like, you start critiquing yourself.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't. So in the example here, one of the suggestions was you put someone down, but really you're putting yourself down.
Right.
Okay. Fair enough.
Good stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Right. For the record, I don't do that anymore. I used to do that. Now I'm totally content with, if I don't know something, I'm just like, hey, I don't know. Sorry. But it's still like low-key a temptation for me, even today, even sometimes, depending on what it is. You know, like in the video, I said like somebody had beaten a video game like that. I don't do that anymore. But you know, trying to think of if it's something like major, something big. You know, this is totally just off the cuff example. But if somebody was like, if I was in a scenario where everybody else was like sharing the same emotion, like really excited about something, or really, you know, was mourning something or something like that, and I maybe didn't resonate with that, I might say, oh yeah, like this is awesome, or like, oh, I'm upset, when I'm not really, you know what I mean? Just to like empathize with everybody around me, you know what I mean? I don't see that as bad, as bad,
Sure.
But you know, still kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, do we have any chat?
Let's see. Not at the moment.
All right, that's
No.
cool. We're
Okay.
just gonna move on. All right, so here we go. This is a classic question.
He said.
Do you know anyone who always follows the rules? Or are you the person that always follows the rules?
I'll answer this.
Oh boy.
All right, do it.
Ellis always follows the rules to a T.
Let's see, give an example.
Like,
This is gonna be bad.
I don't like if, like, the chairs, like if you were like, hey, go and get the chairs, but the chairs weren't available, he would do everything in his power to go and get the chairs, because that's what you told him to do. He's going to follow the rules and follow the plan.
So, okay, it's less because he's a nice guy, and it's more that he's just trying to follow the rules.
Well, I mean,
It's a combination of the two.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
With
fair
a
enough.
little hard-headedness thrown in there.
So I'm gonna go ahead and
there
I'm
you
gonna
go.
go ahead and assume then that she is not that person.
Not exactly.
Okay.
Not exactly.
All right. Fair enough. I feel like we're doing couples therapy.
Me
now.
too. Yeah, this question. Yeah.
All right. Of course, I know somebody who always follows the rules. I am definitely not that person. I don't break any major rules. And in terms of like the major things, like I hardly grew up doing anything that like my parents didn't want me doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, things like that. I was this is probably dating me, this term, but a goody goody. That's what I would have been called in school. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody says that anymore, but that's what I would have been called. But when it comes to like, I think this rule, this like basic rule is dumb. Yeah, I'll throw it out the window. I went to Best Buy today, and because of COVID, they have like 80 pickup parking spaces, and no one's ever in them. I parked in one of those and walked right in the store. I was like, This is stupid. They're all at the front.
Get 'em.
I'm telling.
They're
I'm
all
telling.
at the front.
Best
yeah,
Buy,
Rick resonates.
You know where to find him.
Rick's got me right there. It's so dumb. They're all at the front. And all the prime real estate is taken by spots not being used. And I saw somebody, a rule follower, drive halfway up the parking lot and park right next to the last check-in slot. And I just pulled it right in the first one, right in that bad boy, and walked in. I was like, I'm going to be in there for 2 minutes.
Maybe
This is not going to fill up.
Maybe they were getting their steps in, bro. I don't know.
No.
Okay.
No,
All right.
they were following the rules. But anyway, so I'll break that kind of rule all day, no problem. Like, whatever. YOLO. You know what I mean?
Honestly, YOLO.
Honestly, YOLO. Well, we're going to, in the next pre-record session, we're going to talk about a rule that Jesus wasn't very fond of and that he actually broke himself. So let's check this out together, and we'll come back with a game and some more questions after this.
There are rules of behavior in every culture. Even your school or group of friends has its own culture. In Jesus' time, there were plenty of rules too, both written and unwritten, that shaped the community and culture in which Jesus lived. Think about your school or group of friends for a moment. Have you ever noticed that what's cool and acceptable is often determined by the most popular or influential people? The same was true in Jesus' day. In their culture, some of the most influential people were religious leaders. Those religious leaders really loved rules for really all of the wrong reasons. These leaders were experts in the law and knew every religious custom inside and out. They created a culture where following their rules wasn't just cool, it was right. And because they were the best at following their own rules, these religious leaders believed themselves to be the best and most right out of anyone. So, when Jesus sometimes ignored these rules and customs, you can imagine it didn't go over very well with these religious influencers. When Jesus had finished speaking, a Pharisee invited him to eat with him. So he went in and reclined at the table. But the Pharisee was surprised when he noticed that Jesus did not first wash before the meal. Then Jesus said to him, "Now then, you Pharisees clean the outside of a cup and dish, but the inside you are full of greed and wickedness. You foolish people, did not the one who made the outside make the inside also? But now as for what is inside you, be generous to the poor, and everything will be clean for you." Side note, you'll remember last week I said Jesus really cared about the poor. There it is, just one example. But anyway, imagine this scene playing out. A religious leader invites Jesus to brunch or lunch or whatever. This guy assumes that Jesus would show up fully washed because this was the religious custom, one of the rules. When Jesus doesn't comply, the religious leader is surprised, it says, which I think is kind of funny. Could have been anything, right? But Jesus shocks him by calling him out. "How can you tell me to wash the outside when you're so dirty on the inside?" Whoa. Then Jesus points to more important things, like committing yourself to love and justice. See, Jesus isn't afraid to be direct. He's not interested in being polite. He tells the truth. Jesus says a cup can look clean on the outside while being filthy inside. Like that cool-looking Delorean that turned out to be a terrible car, Jesus says you might do a lot of good things. You might look good, but your heart can still be full of greed and wickedness. Now, maybe you're thinking, this is kind of rude of Jesus, right? Invited in someone else's own home, calls them out. But sometimes the most loving thing we can do for the people we care about is to tell them the truth, especially when they're harming others. And that's going to be important as I keep reading. Right now, woe to you, Pharisees, because you give God a tenth of your mint, rue, and all other kinds of garden herbs. Just imagine this as stuff. But you neglect justice and the love of God. You should have practiced the latter without leaving the former undone. Woe to you, Pharisees, because you love the most important seats in the synagogues and respectful greetings in the marketplaces. Woe to you, because you are like unmarked graves, which people walk over without knowing it. One of the experts in the law answers him, "Teacher, when you say these things, you insult us also." Jesus replied, "And you, experts in the law, woe to you, because you load people down with burdens they can hardly carry, and you yourselves will not lift one finger to help them." Wow, Jesus is taking it to these guys because he's frustrated, and he's mourning the mistreatment of people he loves and created, especially because the people causing them harm are the people who claim to be spiritual leaders. Jesus warns these leaders that following the rules won't help them win God's approval if they don't share God's heart of love and justice for others. Worrying about our own righteousness doesn't matter if we're not also considering and working for the well-being of others. See, here Jesus wasn't just wildly ranting about the Pharisees either. If there's one thing, or one of the things I want you to learn from this series, is Jesus was calculated in every single thing he did. Calculated in everything he did. And these words that he spoke that day were carefully crafted to make a point from the past. I despise your religious festivals. Your assemblies are a stench to me. Even though you bring me burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. Though you bring choice fellowship offerings, I have no regard for them. Away with the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the music of your harps, but let justice roll on like a river, righteousness like a never-failing stream. Do you see the similarities here? Jesus knew the words of Amos, and he knew that the Pharisees knew them too. That's why he reached into the past and pulled out Amos's warning to the present. Jesus and Amos both cared enough for the leaders they were speaking to that they told them the truth. You're doing a lot right, but you've missed the things that matter most. You see, the Pharisees knew everything there was to know about rules and religious customs, but they'd forgotten the most important things. They forgot the words of Amos. They forgot God's heart for justice. So Jesus, with direct and tough language, hoped the religious leaders of his day would remember the words of the past, humble themselves, realize and take ownership of the ways they had contributed to injustice, and commit themselves to the work of justice instead. And Jesus does the same for you and me. Because Jesus' mission was to set people free, he invites us to grieve the ways we've maybe harmed others, whether intentionally or unintentionally, and love God and others more than ourselves and our religion. Because at the end of the day, God calls us to do justice.
All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that part of the video. There was a lot there. So Ellis had to leave. You'll still be able to hear him. He's actually behind the camera because when we do this game, he's going to move it. But Abby's still here with me. So I'm going to ask a couple questions of her and, of course, of you guys in the chat. I would love to see some chat interaction from y'all because we're here for you. If y'all weren't watching, we probably wouldn't do this. But I understand. You're probably busy or whatever. So, you can be watching this later in the week, too, when we're not live. And, of course, you're not going to ask questions or post answers then. But, of course, anytime you're watching this, you can put your answers in the comments, even if we're not live. And I look at that page basically every day. So, I'll probably see them, and that would be cool to catch up that way. But the first question is just more of like a were you listening to what I said question. How did the Pharisees use religious rules to make themselves feel important? And how does this relate to us today, our culture today? So how did the Pharisees use religious rules to make themselves feel important? And how does this relate to our culture today? Do you know?
Yes.
There are like multiple answers. So.
Right. I think that I just spit a little bit. Sorry.
Nice.
They used the rules and they twisted them to make it seem like it was something it wasn't. Right. Which is.
Right. Well, they kind of took it. So in the scripture, they wanted Jesus to essentially ceremoniously clean himself.
Right.
Before he came in to eat. And he didn't. So that's kind of what they were upset about in this particular passage. But they're known for that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think as I obviously I talked about it a little bit I'm just trying to turn on the chat here to see if it's around to make sure I've got answers. But anyway, they did this all the time. Like I said, to make themselves feel important, to really elevate themselves above other people. So we call like America like a Christian nation, but really it's not. Like their day, like particularly for Jewish people, like religion was a part of literally everything they did. Like it's really hard to sort of understand and equate it to us because we don't necessarily operate that way. Not everybody. Like in their day, it literally did not matter what you did for a living or anything like that. Like some sort of religion was a part of it. Like now, were you devout or not? Did you believe it or not? That varied from person to person, of course. But it would be like if you went to work at Capital One today or something, some bank, and you had to pray when you walked in. You know what I mean? Like that. Like it was that. It was that level. That of course is not the way it is now. So in terms of like the Pharisees, the religious leaders like ruling the day, that doesn't translate for our culture. But people using rules to elevate themselves, that still 100% happens today. When you're the powerful and you get to establish the rules, sometimes, unfortunately, people make rules that benefit some people and not others. That's been a topic of conversation around our nation for a little bit now, that whole sentiment, this is not the time or place for that conversation, but it is a conversation, and it's being had, now. So it's not, in that way, it's really not that much different. But Pharisees would use these rules all the time to sort of see themselves as holier than thou. If religion is part of everything, and if they're the closest people to God, then they're going to be the most well-respected. Get the most favor, have the best seats at the table, all that. So, yeah, they used it. The Bible talks about them in this blanket statement. I'm sure there were good ones. But here, in this scenario, they cared a lot more about the rules than the heart of God. And they found themselves doing that a lot. So Jesus uses a metaphor about the cup in that scripture. He says the outside can be clean, but the inside can be filthy. And he equates that to a Pharisee. He says, look, you look great on the outside. To everyone else, you're doing all the same thing. But in you, there's a lot of greed and wickedness. So what are some things that our hearts can be secretly filled with today? Because, we like to rag on the Pharisees, but we do a lot of the same things. So go ahead and answer that. You can answer that too.
Well, I think it depends on, your mood. It can be filled with bitterness, sorrow, anger, frustration.
Yeah.
All emotions, and emotions need to be dealt with. Mm-hmm. But when they're feelings of bitterness and resentment and like heavy frustration, I feel like that's when it gets unhealthy. And on the outside, like you can look like you have it all together still, right? So like you can show up, like have, for girls, like your hair and makeup well, anybody in today's culture.
Sure.
But,
I got you.
Yeah. But you can show up and have this very put together look, but on the inside you can still feel the same as the Pharisees with the bitterness and.
Right. I think a practical example is, and I'll use myself because the only time I want to disparage anybody is like my past self, particularly without somebody's permission. But even if I did, I just want to talk about my own mistakes and shortcomings. It was easy for me, particularly in high school when I was leading worship, and even, out of school, out of college, even just like at the very beginning, to be on this big platform with a bunch of lights with a room full of people, start to feel like I'm something. You know what I mean? Like I've made it. People tell me all the time how great I am, how great I do at this thing. And it feels good. And nothing is inherently wrong. Nothing's wrong at all with being told how great you are. It's then when you start to feed off of it and like sort of want it, that I've been there before. I've done that. And that's this. Like, I was leading worship. So on the outside, looked totally good. But on the inside, kind of won my own gain and everything like that. So, all right. Well, we're going to shift gears from some of the heavier stuff and play one more game, like I told you. Aiden, I saw you in the chat. I don't know how you did it unless there's like the TV's like halfway in one of these shots, but yeah, we are going to play a little Jeopardy. So
you saw it in camera 6. It's sneaking in there. It's all good though.
Okay. Okay.
Good
I
eye.
see you.
Good eye, Aiden.
Good eye, Aiden. Well, I'm going to be away from the chat for a second as I move, but I'm coming over here to Jeopardy. Oh, nice. I see you across the top. Students, and then T2 and S2. I got it.
Yeah.
I see what you did there. So this game is related to our first game. On the screen, you're going to see zoomed in images, right? Really zoomed in. And you're going to have to try and guess what it is. We're going to reveal the answer once you know, or once you've made your guesses, which I'm probably really just going to wait like 10 or 15 seconds because, as I said, can't actually see your guesses. But somebody will tell me if you were right or not. And we'll go from there. So, Ellis, are we ready? Are we good to go?
Hold on.
All right. He said hold up. Ellis is doing like 2 jobs. He's situating the camera, and then he's got to go run the game from the back. So
we're ready.
All right. We're ready. So, cool. All right. Well, I'm just going to pick the categories. Actually, you know what? Emma, you're in here. You know how Jeopardy works? All right. So pick one of these for me. This literally just says students across the top. So S2 200, okay? Here we go. That's right there, yeah. Bam. So what is that? Zoomed in picture. This is 200, so I think this is pretty, I think this one's a little easy. But check it out for about 5 more seconds, and we'll see. I think I know the answer. I've not seen any of these before, by the way.
Yep.
Aiden says necklace. Yeah, is that what he said?
Yes.
Aiden, okay. Let's see if it's a necklace. I think something else, but let's check it. It is a screw. See, I thought it was a screw. You got the screw head right here, and then, the threads of the screw right there. But hey, look, I'm sure somebody has a necklace that's just a screw. So, you know what? Maybe you're right. All right, next category, or next question. All right, who else? Rick, you want to pick one? T300, right here. One more over. There it is. Bam. What is that? What the heck? Oh, okay, if you can't read this, that says fruit or vegetable. Okay. I still don't know exactly what it is. That is really zoomed in.
Are we allowed to make guesses?
You can. Yep.
I feel like it's the little stem of an apple.
Stem of an apple. I think you're onto something there. I think it's a stem, but how many fruits have stems, right? Could be pear.
Aiden
could
said
be
apple stem too.
All right. So apple stem's what we're going with. Let's see. Yes, that is definitely an apple stem. There you go. 300 points. Write it down for yourself. 300 points. 300 points.
Yeah, Aiden.
All right, let's move on. We're not going to do all these tonight. We'll probably do, 4 or 5 more, and then we'll move on to the last part of the video. All right, Emma, you're back up. E for 500, right there.
A hard one.
One more. There it is. Bam. Drink supplies. What? That looks like a rope. Drink supplies.
I don't even know what that is.
What is it? You say you think you know. Huh? A straw? You think that's a straw? I mean, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. It looks a little too fibery to be a straw. Rick knows. He thinks he knows.
Tanner said tea bag.
A tea bag? Okay, well, let's see. Let's reveal it. It's a tea bag. There you go.
Nice, Tanner.
All right. Way to go. Tanner with the 500, the 500. All right, who's up? You want to pick one?
Oh, sure. Let's do D for 400.
D 400. Yep, that's it. All right. So that is very red. It's a toy.
Ooh.
It's a toy.
I'm guessing yo-yo. Oh, and Tanner also guessed yo-yo.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty easy one. I think that's yo-yo.
Yeah, for a 400?
We'll give some more. Well, look, we didn't make the game. We found it. All right.
Aiden said yo-yo, and
Yo-yo.
George said yo-yo yizzle.
Yo-yo Yeezy. Yo-yo mama. All right, let's see. I think we're all in agreement here on this one. Check it out. Reveal. Reveal. There we go. Yo-yo. Yep, that's it. That is it. All right, let's do two more. Two more. All right, who's up? You pick one. S for 500, bottom corner here. Oh, that's a food. What is that? I don't want to eat that.
It looks like a melon of some sort.
What is that? A melon of some sort? Yeah, I could see that. Chat, what do you think? What do you think that is? What do you think?
George said cantaloupizzle.
Cantaloupe. Cantaloupizzle. Not sure what that is, but I want it. Obviously, it's cantaloupe. I get it. But any other guesses?
Aiden said cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe. All right, we got 2 cantaloupe guesses from the chat. Let's see. I think you're right. There you go. It's this weird exterior that they have. Yeah, good thing you don't eat that part. Looks kind of gross. All right, let's do one more. Let's do one more. Chat, I want you to pick this. Can you see the screen? Chat, you pick whoever puts their response in. Aiden, I want to hear from you, buddy. What do you want? Our star. If we could put badges on people who watch our live streams, you would be numero uno, my friend.
Aiden's our top fan.
Yeah, well, he definitely is. Oh, it's already on there?
No.
Oh, you would say that on Facebook.
Yeah, I would just say it. Aiden said T500.
T500. All right, the T for 500. That is a spice.
Oh.
Tree bark. No, I don't know.
Clove?
Yeah, clove. You said close. Yeah. I don't know. I have a guess, but I don't want to say it. I really haven't seen them, so my guess would be as good as yours. But got any guesses? Did George just say something? What did he say?
Pulled barbecue chicken.
Pulled barbecue chicken, a spice.
Tanner
yeah,
said.
I like this. I like to sprinkle that on my pizza. You know, all that sort of stuff.
Tanner said the Grand Canyon.
The Grand Canyon.
And Aiden said nutmeg.
Nutmeg. A legit guess. Okay, all right. Well, let's see. Cinnamon. That was going to be my guess. I didn't guess it. But I figured it was going to be like the rolled up cinnamon sticks like this. But cool. All right. So, yeah, I think that's it. Are there any daily doubles in this? Will it reveal that to you?
I don't know. Good
All right.
question.
Well, don't worry about it.
All right.
Don't worry about it. Hey, I hope you enjoy the game. If you like the games, let us know. They obviously get the interaction, but, you know, if you think we could play better ones or more engaging ones, please let us know. But until then, we're going to watch the last part of our pre-recorded teaching and then close out our time together after that. So take a look at this.
So what about you? How are you doing justice? How have you contributed to injustice? How are you neglecting the work of justice right now? If you're not sure, that's okay. You're not a religious leader from 2,000 years ago, so maybe you're struggling to understand how Jesus' words and woes apply to you in 2021. In our last live session in just a moment, we're going to answer a few tough questions. In fact, you might not feel great about it when we first start, but trust me, it's ultimately so we can all figure out our potential blind spots and refocus ourselves on doing Jesus' work, his mission to set people free. One way we can accomplish this is by doing justice, just as he told the Pharisees to do long ago. So as you answer these questions in this next live session, be honest with yourself. No one else is going to read this but you. Listen for God, and let's discover together how we can start doing justice.
is for justice. Justice for the oppressed, justice for the lost, justice for those who haven't been given justice. And the reason he was so upset at the Pharisees, time and time again, not only in the story that we had, but in many other stories, is because they had lost sight of why the rules existed in the first place. Of course, the rules didn't exist to create some hierarchy, to create good people and bad people, to create holy people and sinful people. They didn't exist to delineate between people. They exist and existed to bring everyone justice. See, when we follow God's rules, we've talked about this before in a different series. When we follow God's rules, we're actually set free. We can be free people. That's where we talked about it. And yet, they got so caught up in following the rules of status that they forgot that God didn't create the rules so we could follow him. God didn't need their sacrifices. He said that in Amos, which I read in the video. He didn't need their sacrifices. He didn't need all of that. What he wanted was their heart. And he wanted their heart for justice like his. Oftentimes, we can get caught up in the rules, not only of our own society, but of Scripture as well. So caught up in trying to follow the rules that we forget the point of the rules. To help everybody find justice where God's heart is. So I'm going to leave you with 2 questions. We're going to answer 2 more questions, then we're going to pray and we're going to be done. I'm so grateful for those of you who are here and who are watching this later. Thank you for taking the time to invest in your walk with Jesus and just really try and help yourself become a better person. I'm glad we can do this together. But here's the first question. What are some challenges we might face when pursuing justice? And how can we prepare for those challenges? What are some challenges we might face when pursuing justice? And how can we prepare for those? I'll start, but I don't want this to be the definitive answer. I want to give you all time to think about it. And of course, you in the chat to think about it. But just because I answer it, don't be like, oh, that's the answer he was looking for. I think there are multiple answers to this question. I'm only going to name one. I think what are some challenges we might face when pursuing justice? Well, unfortunately, in order to pursue justice, usually that means there's some sort of person or group or circumstance that's at best just turning a blind eye to the injustice, and at worst is creating it. And when you go in and try and make justice for somebody or something, you might get pushback from that group or that person or that, or whatever it might be. So I think that's one. And I think the way we prepare for it is just to know that it might happen. Of course, it's going to present itself in many different ways, but to go in saying, I'm going to seek justice for this person or this people group or this cause, to go in knowing I might face resistance will at least help when you do. Might not give you the answer on how to deal with it. It might just help you at least say, well, I saw this coming, so it's not going to deter me from doing what I feel like God's calling me to do.
Yeah, I'm not just piggybacking off of you because you explicitly told us not to. I'm not doing one of those things. I'm not.
Yes.
It is a fantastic answer, and I was thinking along the same lines. It's just opposition, knowing that you're going to face opposition, and being whatever justice it is you're fighting for, being steadfast in your conviction to fight it, knowing that there's going to be obstacles in your way. I'm right there with you. I would agree with that completely.
I think that I would also agree, but I also feel like another way that you can prepare is like knowing how to advocate for yourself and those around you. So like in that way, like knowing the cause, like y'all were saying, and then also preparing yourself with like what they would say, what they wouldn't say, just everything that goes along with it, every possible scenario that you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
Yeah. I think another challenge, it just might be harder than you expect it to be.
Oh, yeah.
So, without thinking of an example off the top. Well, okay, how about this? So let's keep it simple, because last week we talked about somebody you might see caught in some sort of oppression or captivity, air quotes, might be somebody at school who's getting bullied. So that's a whole lot different than trying to tackle the water crisis around the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that one might seem like, oh, well, all I got to do is at the very least, go tell this kid or peer, hey, I see you and I want to be your friend. But at worst, you might actually have to confront the bully, which you might think isn't a big deal, but they are probably going to push back. If they're a bully, and it might be harder than you think when it happens. I think one thing that can help us, what could help you or me deal with that, would be to just remind yourself of why in the first place, why you would do that. Not only so, like I said, a fellow peer could feel loved and cared for, like Jesus loves and cares for them, but also because that's Jesus' heart, is for justice. And you're following that and reminding yourself, hey, keeping it in front of you. I'm doing this because God called me to. I'm doing this because God cares about it. It matters to God. It matters to me, period. And that might help, face some adversity. Last question. What are some ways you'd like to grow on your journey to do justice? And how can we do this together? What are some ways you'd like to grow on your journey to do justice, and how can we do this together?
Well, I think, when we use words like fighting injustice, it can be easy to think of something really radical and something dramatic. And I think what comes to mind for me is as simple as promoting justice. If you were in church with us today, Pastor Brian talked about this idea of create versus evaluate, and how we as people use our eyes to evaluate others and maybe treat them a certain way depending on their appearance. And I just think, if we could all strive to see people how God sees them, not necessarily how we see them with our own eyes, that would stop a lot of injustice at the start, to be honest, when it comes to equal treatment. So, yeah, I think just promoting justice is a way we could kind of fight it at the start.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
I was thinking along the lines of the same thing. Like, if you are living your life in accordance with Jesus, then I feel like it's one way to show how to fight justice without
Injustice.
going and yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're not fighting
We're not
justice.
trying to fight
Sorry,
justice.
y'all. But it's just one way to kind of do your thing.
Sure. Y'all are essentially just saying live a life that promotes justice. That's one way we can do it.
Yeah.
It's less about trying to go, or it can be less about going to root out injustice at its source. Instead, you just enter the world being a person who cares about justice, and just the byproduct of that is going to be the people around you feeling like they've received some sort of justice because you're living that way. Yeah, I think that's great. Like anything that Jesus cares about or God cares about, if we live a life that cares about those same things, hopefully that attitude will just spill over in the way we act. If we care about treating people well, and we just every day when we wake up say, I'm going to treat everybody well that I see, maybe that inspires change just by what you're doing. So yeah, I think that works. I do think, just as another answer, we can intentionally just really consider, like we did last week, where we might jump in and try and do justice. To not just go about your day haphazardly and be like, all right, I'm just going to constantly look around and be like, oh, injustice, and run over there, and go do something.
That guy's in the curbside spots.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to tell him.
I'm going to call the tow company. Yeah. Justice. No. But knowing, again, exactly like we did last week, if you can think about it tonight, maybe you've seen it. You already know where it exists, and you can note that down. This is where I'm going to start focusing my efforts. And then once you have kind of a clear goal, you can do what y'all are talking about and sort of, live as a person who cares about justice around that scenario or that person or whatever. So that's a lot to think about. This series, what I like about this series so far is it's really practical. It's just, hey, there's injustice around you. There's injustice in the world. God cares about it. And Jesus the reason it's called Back to the Future is that Jesus, when he started this mission to save everybody and to do justice, and the one we're going to talk about next week, he was just reminding us that this has been God's plan all along. By pulling from the past, quoting prophets from the past, to be like, hey, this is why I'm here. What they said then, same reason I'm here now, and it's my mission for the future. That's why it's called Back to the Future. And so we said last week that Jesus' mission is our mission. And part of that is he loves to do justice and see justice done. So we got to join him in that. Hey, I'm going to give you just one quick update or announcement about next week or the rest of June, and then we're going to pray together, and then that will be our time. Next week, we're going to be in Walterboro, South Carolina on the mission trip. A lot of you who probably watch this later are going to be there with us, so really excited about that. We're going to go live from Walterboro. So we're still going to go live, but it's going to be Monday. It's going to be Monday at around 5 p.m. I'm pretty sure it's scheduled for 5 right now. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be really unique. Like the fact that we're coming live from Walterboro, you're going to see a lot of student faces. It's probably just going to feel like we have our phone cameras out, just having a bunch of fun and talking about it. And it actually really ties in to what we're talking about next week, which I'll go ahead and spoil it for you, is Jesus wants to rebuild what's been destroyed. That's literally what we're doing in Walterboro, and something that Jesus also cared a lot about, and still does. So we're going to talk about that. And then the following week, we would normally have a live stream on the 27th. That's a Sunday. We are not going to have a live stream coming off the heels of the mission trip. There's going to be a lot. So, yeah, just letting you know now. Next Monday, so not tomorrow if you're watching this on Sunday, but the 20th. I believe it's the 20th. Or the 21st, excuse me. 21st, we'll have a live stream, Monday the 21st, and then we won't have one the week after that. Yep. So it'll actually be the last week of our Back to the Future series next Monday. So be there. It'll be a lot of fun. All right, let's pray together, and then we will end our time tonight. God, thank you for the invitation to do justice with you. Lord, for reminding the Pharisees long ago that rules aren't meant to be divisive. They're not meant to carry status with them. Instead, they were designed to help people be in right relationship with God and also live a life that's free and full of joy and in your purpose, God. And Lord, part of that is his believers, the people who trust in him, who love him, to go and do justice for those around them and those around the world. So, Lord, would you just inspire us? Would you show us where we could be used by you? Would we look to you to figure that out? And God, would you be faithful to speak to us? Would we be faithful to listen? And we look forward to hearing your voice. And Lord, would you just give us the courage to go, to figure it out, even if we don't know exactly how it's going to go or where exactly we need to go, God. Would you just point us in the right direction? We have the courage to follow you, God, because if we'll do that, we know that in time, it's going to be totally worth it and exactly where you want us to be. And that's the best place we can be. So we thank you. We love you. It's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. Emma, thanks for being here.
Emma.
Tanner, thanks for being in the back there.
Yeah.
Abby, thank you for being a trooper. Ellis, as always, thank you, sir. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Particularly if you didn't watch this live and you made it to the end. Yo, props to you. You're the best. Aiden, you're really the best, is actually what it is.
Big facts.
Aiden watched it live. If you're watching this later, Aiden watched it live. George, love you, buddy. I think that was probably it. But anyway, we're all here. We're all here, and we're excited. So we'll see you next week, Monday, the 21st, 5 p.m., from Walterboro, South Carolina. Have a great week. We'll see you then.